So I think one of the biggest things that we're actually, the biggest issue, should I say, that we're actually currently having is that we're not thinking about certain aspects that we have to think about before the games actually start. And B, even when we're ahead, we're still playing as if we're even or behind. And this is one of the reasons why you're not just hard smurfing games and why the games are becoming so flippy like they currently are, is purely because we're just not pushing our leads, right? So we'll go over the game and I'll just show you which points I mean. But first up, so here you were, so what was your original plan in this early game? Because you were going to start blue buff, right? So
Yeah. Oh, I thought about trying to invade the red, but I mean, I feel like Jinx see me.
So the thing is, I think invading red is ridiculously bait, especially since as soon as you get into a high relo, it becomes so. There's so many people that know that the king trick works, or how that king trick works, that you'll never really be able to pull it off. Because the only thing that they need to do to stop it is just sit here, right? Like, so if they just sit there, that's it. There's nothing you could do. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know. With invading with team, you can usually. Right, I mean, it's coin flip, but yeah, I'd say most of my King games, which is by the way not a lot. I haven't played much jungle at all this season.
Okay,
Uh,
so I mean,
yeah.
Kayn was your most played. I think Kayn was what you peaked on, right?
Peaked on? Maybe. I think I
Yeah.
peaked on Pike. I think I peaked on Pike mid, but
Okay. So either way, we have to evaluate the early game, right? So we've got a TF mid and a Renekton top. What CC do we have in bot lane? Jinx, you me.
literally just it's all Jinx slows and then
Yeah.
Jinxie.
Nothing reliable. There's nothing reliable that we can use bot lane at all. So even though Jinx is going to be a carry later on into the game, the Yumi means that there's no real opportunity for us to actually do anything in this bot lane. Whereas in both mid and top, we have point and click CC. So this CC is not just very, very powerful, it's ridiculously straightforward for them to land. So you want to be abusing this, and even though that could potentially mean that your form is a little bit delayed, if you get so far ahead early, off ganking those lanes multiple times, then that's all you really need to focus on. So yeah, starting blue here would mean that you're pathing towards a Jinx Yumi, and there's absolutely nothing that they can do to really help you, which, is very, very bad. So so that's obviously important. Like the thing with your pathing is your early pathing is like playing chess, right? Like your initial move will determine how the rest of the game will go. And sometimes if your initial move is wrong, then the rest of the game becomes way harder than it needs to be. Obviously vice versa, if your initial move is correct, then the game becomes much easier than it's supposed to be. Now, in this scenario, is the Nidalee going to invade your blue?
Probably not.
Probably not, no. Like, again, we can't really say for certain, but the chances are that she's not. So one of the first things that we should have looked to do anyway is, since they can potentially invade our blue, instead of using our ward here, because this ward was useless, it didn't really do anything, instead we should have pathed straight up here and just place it in the pixel and then reset on there, just because that one's pointless. Now, one of the big things with Kayn as well is you can just clear everything. So there's no reason to ignore the Krugs early on Kayn because you clear them so fast anyway. So what you should have looked to do is go red into the Krugs, E all the way over to the chickens, and then go into your top side, right? Now, the sequencing of your camps was a little bit of a problem this game. There were some things that we weren't really doing too much that we should have.
My pathing is probably not very good, yeah. I don't know. I haven't just kept up on jungle meta or following stuff.
I mean, it's fine.
Yes.
It's fine. But so the first thing, so what do you think is the first problem here?
Maybe he's going mid first. I don't know.
No. So right here, where do you need to be? Where are you going?
I was going top lane, or either top or mid, looking for a gank. Skull's not up. I have just time to kill.
Top is important. So we should have gone top. Top's the correct play. But what are we doing here? See, what are these inputs? Why are we looking mid? Why are we looking bot lane?
Just information. I don't know. It's like a second. It's like pressing an FE. I don't know.
Yeah, the thing is, we're looking at information in lanes that we're going to
That
be
doesn't
nowhere near.
matter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're not going
That's
bot lane right here, we're going top. Now, look how long it is until you actually look top.
Yeah.
You see? We have no idea what's happening. Like, there's a full fight going on up
The
here.
fighting.
Yeah, like, we saw the
I
fight.
mean, I don't
like,
think I would have.
no, we
Yeah.
probably still wouldn't have, like, the point is we probably still wouldn't have got there in time
Yeah.
to actually do anything, but we didn't know that until it actually happened, right? So we need to start spamming our pings more when we're actually on our way. And B, we actually need to look at where we're going. Like, so if say for example you were crossing the road, you wouldn't look at your phone, right? Like it's kind of the same thing. Like we're going there and we don't want to get hit by a theoretical bus, which is Nidley, because we're not looking. Now here obviously he did die. He was always going to die because I think she watered this brush. But here we just soak the wave. Like, it doesn't really matter. We still get something out of it. But you just want to look to push it as quick as you can. So we get this push, which is fine. And Ridley does show, but it doesn't really matter. Unfortunately, she caught a wave as well there. But see, look how easy it is to... so there's a few problems here, to be honest. Like, the first one is that we use our Q towards a position that he's not going to be. So this is fine. W, fine. So here, just auto him, and then just stay here. We're in no rush to use this Q. He is 100% dead. So we just hold on to the Q, wait for him to jump over, and then we just Q after him. It means that we don't have to use our flash, and we still get the kill. I think we would have actually fully got the kill, to be honest, but doesn't really matter. Now, here, another big mistake. Now, where did we last see the Nidley?
Upside.
Top, right? So, the chances are, if she plays this properly now, she would have been pathing towards mid anyway, so there's a really, really high chance that she would have been on her way to mid. So what you need to do is you need to help this guy, because there's another wave coming here, and this wave still here as well, right? So now he's in a position where we kind of griefed him by not pushing it in. This season, the crabs don't mean anything. They're really, really bad. So the crabs are nowhere near important anymore, since they got significantly nerfed. But see what's happening here now? This TF is struggling to get a reset in because he was very low on mana, and we didn't help him. Now look at how his wave is. Do you see it?
Yeah.
So mid is very, very doomed. Now, one of the things when you're playing junglers is you basically always want to, after a successful gank, you want to try and set that lane up so that you can then gank again at a future point, right? So right now, we're not setting this lane up so that we can gank again, whereas we've already got a lot of pressure on top. If we get that in, it'll bounce back. We can then gank again. TF is completely fine, which as an immobile mid laner is really, really important. And so here, this was... It's very, very risky to take this fight, especially because the Nidley also has red buff here, and we have blue. So it's really, really risky to even take that fight, so we just back out. We don't need to. Now, what happens if we take that fight and something goes wrong? What's a Nidley going to do?
Snowball or take my camps.
Yeah, she's just going to walk in here, take this, hop over the wall, go and take this. You've just lost 2 camps and there's nothing you can really do about it, especially considering TF is on reset as well. So it's just not really worth taking that risk. It's just it's too high variance basically. So we just want to go to clear our camps. Obviously we do have a lot of gold, but there's nothing that we really need to do on the map right now. So we can just spend this time to just farm up a little bit more, So we get these camps, this is fine. So Nidley does go top. I think he survives, right? But again, we look, but it's very late. Also get used to your FKs as well. Like, honestly, I know I say this a lot, but it makes things way, way easier because right here, you're moving your mouse to click on the map, whereas you can keep your mouse in the same place and just FK,
Alright.
It just makes things way, way easier. So yeah, so Yumu's rush, I think, is extremely good on blinking. The movement speed that you get means that, you get... it basically increases the tier of your boots, in theory. So it's very, very strong. So here, Unfortunately, we missed that W. Doesn't really matter too much. But, you know, it is still a 3v1. It's still very, very high risk, even though the Nami has no mana. So instead, we just want to, again, fix the wave, just so that, you know, they're going to be pinned under their tower. It means that they're potentially not going to be able to get a reset, which is going to mean that, you know, it's very, very good for you. And then we just go back to clearing again, especially before we get our first item or two. Like, we may as well just focus on farming. Now, this is one really big issue right now. So, going Blue Kayn, what archetype is Blue Kayn?
Assassin.
Assassin, right? So, what do assassins need to do in the game? What's their role? What's their job?
Get picks.
Okay, yeah, get picked, one-shot someone, get rid of their squishy carries, and then you win the fight off. Numbers advantage, especially with Kayn, since you can get those picks and then heal quite a lot off your ultimate too. So, if you want to get picks as early as possible, what do you need in order to get those picks?
Vision.
Okay, that's one thing, but what do you actually need primarily on your champion?
Damage.
Yeah, damage. So damage is your number one priority. Without damage, you can't do anything. And now, right now it's 8 minutes, right? So what should our goal be at around this point in time?
Completing the item.
Okay, that's one thing. But where do we need to be on the map right now? Where do you think?
Heralds.
Hell yeah. Now, Herald is a ridiculous amount of gold. If you can get a full tower with Herald, that's around 1,200 gold. I think it's actually around 1,250. So that's a ridiculous amount of gold, right? So, Herald, when you're playing an assassin like Blue Kayn, should always be your priority. Because that 1,200 gold is going to allow you to get to those items and snowball even faster. Now, that should obviously be your main priority. Obviously, you can get gold off your camps too. But right here, so first thing that we didn't do is we didn't look at Nidalee when she showed on the map. So, was it here or just before? Okay, so right here, we didn't look. How much HP does this Nidalee have right now?
No.
Exactly, we have no idea. So as soon as you see the enemy jungler on the map, that's a really, really important thing for you to quickly look over them. Because what if she is, say, 20% HP? Like, obviously, maybe not. She probably isn't. Likely it is she isn't. But if she is, we can just go straight into this Herald and we're completely fine, right? And so that's kind of important. So here, obviously, Renekton is able to do quite a lot in terms of locking her down. But overall, look at this big wave that he's pushing in. So right here, we look to go mid. But like I said, mid lane isn't really our priority right now. Again, as well, we start pathing towards mid without even looking. So we don't even know what's actually happening there, right? We're just blindly pathing towards her, which is obviously...
Yeah. I mean, I see the circles. The lane position's, like, enough for a gank. I mean, I feel like if he flashed there, he died for sure.
The thing is, though, look at what's happening right now in top lane. So can you 1v1 Nidalee? That's the question.
Probably not at this stage.
No, you can, surely. Like Kayn into Nidalee, especially with Dirk. Now, one of the reasons why you can do this is because Dirk is actually worth a ridiculous amount of gold. So you get roughly about, I think it's 430 gold for free with Dirk. Because lethality is actually, even though you only pay 5 gold per 1 lethality, 1 lethality is actually equal to 43 gold. So in base gold, you're getting 43 per, which means the 10 lethality alone is 430. So because of that, it means that the fact that you have this Dirk right now means you're incredibly strong. It's probably the strongest component in the entire game, purely because you get all of this basically 430 gold for free. So you're basically a kill up on Nidalee, and you've got, you know, quite a lot of XP. And, you know, like, this fight doesn't really get you anything. And also, if the Nidalee does come, Renekton can move. The Camille can't, right? Because look at how big that wave is. Again, we didn't look at the wave. But this is the thing. We need to be using the early leads that we have around the map to actually do something. Because Nidalee doesn't even show up around this area for quite a while. So I think she actually reset. But yeah, overall... Oh, she didn't reset, but she was still in her top side. So this Herald, especially because we had Sweeper as well, right? Actually, we used it early. So... this was okay, but overall we should have used this Sweeper on the Herald instead, because like I said, the Herald is your main priority. It's the thing that's going to actually win you the game. and then here. So to be honest, we don't really want to focus Yone out there, because are we going to kill either of them here? In this scenario, are we going to kill them?
Probably not.
No.
That's more just for form.
Yeah, so we're going for orbs more than anything. So just focus on Idley because she's ranged. It means gets us a blue form. And we were predominantly blue at this point. But then, you know, because we were focusing melees, we ended up losing our form. So, like, your form is probably one of the most important things on Kayn, because, again, you're going to be waiting roughly 3 minutes or less, you know, it's before you actually manage to get that value. So, nice predictive flash. And then this was, you know, it wasn't too bad. I mean, TF could have walked up, but it's fine. But yeah, here, like, so this is completely fine initially. Obviously, she does put this down, but you also need to ping. So ping the Renekton to come to the Herald, because he's resetting here, but just ping him to come to Herald and see if he actually comes. Just because the Nidalee is on the dragon, right? So our hesitation was actually what made this really bad. Because even without Renekton, we would have got it because the TF was moving. And we know that Nidalee's on the dragon. So how do we know that Nidalee's on the dragon?
Kill feed.
I mean, just that, or...
Or well, because she's bot side, I mean.
Okay. So how else do we know she's on it? Or how else could we have known that she's on it?
The ball lane's gone. Enemy ball lane's gone.
Okay, so that's one thing. What else? It's something really, really obvious right now. What did you do before you passed into top side? Yeah, you've got a control ward on the dragon.
It's kind of hard to see. I'm not full screen. Hold on.
Oh.
Oh, okay. So yeah, it's just kind of blurry. But yeah, I got you.
So yeah, you actually have a control ward on the dragon right now. So you know that she's on it, but we don't look. So this is another thing, right? Like, just making sure that we're looking over these things. Because if we would have started it straight away, like here, like this is why I said just go on the Herald straight away, because we knew that she was there.
Yeah.
And then see, because we kind of delayed, that meant that it ended up turning into the mess, because we basically gave her time to come.
Yep.
We do end up getting it, which is okay, but we also walked down towards there too, which was a little bit risky. But overall, it is what it is. Like, it was just hesitation, and that really did kind of make that a lot harder than it needed to be. So at this point, we are very strong. Now, this is another one of those things that you have to do more too, is you did this quite a few times, this game, to be honest, so this is something to take into consideration. When you're playing a farming jungler, you want to avoid having the buffs delay your clear, right? So one thing that you do a lot is you'll clear all of this, and then you'll go to the blue, and then you'll go to the Gromp. Now, why do you think this is a problem?
Because you want to be having the buffs longer, like afterward.
So that's one thing, but then let's think in advance a little bit, because jungling, like I said...
Pathing inward, maybe? Sorry.
Yeah. So I say this quite a lot. Jungle is very much about not just what you're doing now, but what you're going to do in the near future. And when you're jungling, there's a lot of variables that can be predicted based on how the game is going, right? So if, say, for example, we clear all this like we have been, and then take the blue and then go Gromp, that's okay in that moment. But then in another 2+ minutes, when these camps respawn, well, what do you think is going to happen?
It's going to reset in the same way, so...
Yeah,
like,
so this will spawn. Okay, great. Now,
so pathing towards the dragon, so I should have started top, you mean?
Oh, no. So this is fine. This path is completely fine. It's just an example, because you've done it a few times, but... This is just one of the examples of you doing it. So what tends to happen, you did it on blue quite a few times, is you'd clear this, and then red, then this, and this, and then what happens is the next time you come to clear, you end up getting this, and then you're waiting the time that it took you to do the red, you're waiting that amount of time before the chickens spawn. And then you're coming to the wolves, and then you're waiting for the amount of time it took you to do the blue for your Gromp to spawn again, right?
So do the buffs first?
You either do the buffs first or do all of the small camps into the buffs. So say, for example, there was a time earlier in this game, or it might have been later, where you cleared everything and then you took blue and then you took Gromp. Actually, this was at the very start. Actually, it was okay on Kayn at the very start because you dual clear. But then later on, it becomes a little bit of a problem, right? So here, for example, like we clear this, okay, that's completely fine. And then we instantly go on the blue buff, right? So just tag the blue buff and then go on the Gromp and get the Gromp killed as soon as possible. So this should be your focus. So you can keep the blue here, but initially focus the Gromp out first. Okay. Because here we kill the blue, and then again, all of this time that we're killing the blue, that's the amount of time we're going to be waiting to get this Gromp next. So it's about being as efficient as you can with your clear, and this is how you'll get 11, somewhat 12 CS a minute sometimes on things like Kayn that are just really, really good for it, you know. And so we were a little bit further right.
Okay, so is a small camp is 90 seconds or 2 minutes?
Yeah, so it's 2 minutes. It's over 2 minutes for the 2:20. So 1 second, I'll just. So if you do ever want to look at the camps, you can just pull them up. So I think there's actually a page just for camp timers. I'll send it over to you. If this is the right one. Yeah, here you go. So I'll just send you the link. Familiarize yourself with these numbers. They're very, very important. It's basically one of the things that you just have to know as a jungler, right? Like, yeah. So it's 215 per camp, and then obviously 5 per buff. So that means, you know, you're clearing the small camps basically 2 times for every buff spawn.
Right.
So this is fine. Obviously we get our blue form here, and now, you know, we're very, very strong. So at this point, obviously this was quite a sporadic game because we didn't actually have any plates available as of what, 13 minutes, which is kind of unfortunate because we didn't actually get to use our Herald anywhere like actually good. But, you know, it was still a good thing to get it. We should have probably just looked to drop it earlier, to be honest, but...
Yeah, for sure.
So here, what we probably should have looked to do is there's nothing to do on the map, right?
So this is... hold on. Sorry, 1 second, man.
Yeah, no
worries. What? Yes. Okay. Alright, I'll see you. Sorry about
that. Okay. No worries. Nah, it's fine, So yeah, so here we should have probably just looked to use the Herald there just to get this extra tower. It's like 600 gold, which, you know, it's still something. So we probably should have just popped it there just because there's nowhere that we're really going to use it elsewhere on the map, right? So I'm not sure if we kind of forgot about it or... but yeah. So now we get to the point where... we really play too passive, right? Because right now we have level 11, which is a huge power spike. We have our Yumus, our boots, and another Dirk, so another 430 gold for free. And, you know, we have our assassin form, so we're ridiculously fast, we're very hard to catch, and we do a ridiculous amount of damage. So at this point, we need to be looking to punish as much as possible. So right now, where do you think you should have been looking on the map in this scenario?
Maybe Camille.
I mean,
maybe
is she guaranteed gold? Okay,
no.
So where is the gold guaranteed? Where is our 100% going to be gold?
Full screen this. Is it just the camps?
Yeah, Wolf camp. It's about to spawn. It's guaranteed gold. Like, we may as well go to that. So instead of we go up and just go to the Wolf camp, clear that away. Instead, we kind of fight the Nidalee, which you know, it's pretty close, but overall. Now, this is kind of one of the things to these runes is going resolve secondary gives you roughly, I think it's about 400 to 500 base HP from the overgrowth. And conditioning. So, well, from the overgrowth HP and the damage reduction from conditioning. So, if say for example you were to heal like say 500 HP in a fight with Ravenous, that's okay, but
Yeah.
we've already got that HP to start with, like
Mhm.
so it doesn't really matter as much. So it's better to just have those base stats, to be honest. It's much better.
Alright.
And then obviously you can go on flinching in some situations if you need the tenacity, but in this game obviously you didn't need it because the only thing that you're really reducing is Camille stun, and it's not
Yeah.
really a big thing.
They could kite me pretty hard. If I felt this game was that they could all just like Nami, Ezreal, Camille, yeah, and then
A
Nidalee.
little
I had
bit.
just got like, yeah, they had a lot of range too, so I was just like,
Yeah, so just a tad.
I felt zoned most of the time.
But I mean, this is gonna happen, right? Like, especially when you're playing Kayn, like you will get these games where you're gonna get zoned off massively. Like, it's fine. You have all the tools that you need. This is why, obviously, in this game we had to go Prowler's Claw. I do think Eclipse is actually pretty good on Kayn right now, to be completely honest. It's
Yeah.
a little bit weird, but I think it's nice. And Gold Drinker is somewhat viable, but I'm not a massive fan of it anymore,
sure.
just because you don't get that extra damage on low HP.
Mhm.
So it's still okay, but not for me personally. Whereas Prowler's Claw, it means that you can always really get in and do damage. But yeah, so this is one of the really big issues right now, right? So in this situation, where should we be going? What should we be doing now? We're ahead. We have more skirmishing power than the Nidalee. We're 8-9 CS a minute. So
Herald, right?
no, Herald isn't really going to do anything at this point. The only time you go for a Herald at this point in the game now is if you have bounties. Which, if you have bounties, then Herald's pretty good because you'll get a bounty from the Herald, and then you potentially get 2 tower bounties too, which can give your team a massive influx of gold. But where else should you be looking towards right now? So we're ahead. Our camps, there's no way they're ever going to get to these camps, right? Because our team is here. So if they're never going to get to these camps, where do we want to be?
Their camps, but it only looks like there's Craigs right now.
So the blue is spawning. See?
Right.
So blue spawns here, right? So right here we should be going towards the blue and the Gromp and just clearing that way.
Alright.
Because as well, Nidalee without blue buff at this point in the game is, it's going to be a little rough for her because she just wants to keep... Oh, and she's got Harvester, which is crazy bad, but yeah, so we want to basically be making sure at this point in the game we're denying them as much as possible, because then we're still going to get these camps, right? Because say, like, there's 6 camps each side, right? If you take 1 camp from them, all of a sudden you have 7, right? But they now have 5. And then 8, 4, 9, 3. So this gold difference becomes absolutely huge.
Right.
Just by taking those camps. And this is kind of one of the reasons why these games do feel a little hard, is because we're playing a bit too relaxed, Like, your goal should always be, when playing an assassin, to get in the game, get that game closed out as quick as possible, and then be done with it. Like, you don't really want to waste any time whatsoever, because the longer the game goes, the less useful you're going to be. Like here, for example, like, we're just getting greedy. Like, even if this Jinx wants to go for it, just let her, it's whatever.
Yeah.
Right here, you can get this inhibitor. What you could have actually done here, so what do you think, macro-wise, the best decision for you would have actually been here?
Up lane.
Yeah, that's actually exactly correct. Well done. Like, your goal here is to basically just get as much as possible.
I kind of thought it was just going to be GG, to be honest, but I got a little excited anyway.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to happen, right? But, I mean, overall, you do want to kind of be a bit careful of stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because those are the things, it only takes messing up once or twice for the game to become ridiculously hard. After this point, the Camille became incredibly tanky, and this big wave top lane just goes to waste.
Right.
And then everybody goes. And then they also get the dragon for it as well, actually. So that was actually a really big misplay. By the way, if you wanted to know where your active is, here it is.
Oh, the hell?
Yeah, there's your active. I was actually testing this yesterday. It changes based on the slot as well. So in the bottom slot here, it disappears entirely. In this slot it goes here. In this one it went like here, and then here it was like over here for me. It was
One time it goes in the when you press tab, it shows up like in their name.
yeah,
This game's crazy.
I don't know what's going on, to be honest. Like
And
they changed, yeah.
They changed so much. It's so ugly. All the champ selection.
But I
God.
mean, they changed. I mean, with the game, like I don't know why there's these bugs. But what they added 2 dragons, like
Yeah.
and all of a sudden there's these bugs. Like what? 2 dragons and
Dude.
changed TP, and all of a sudden everything's just doomed.
Yeah, I don't know.
Right. So why do you think? I know when we're actually in the game, I stopped you doing this. Why do you think going for Baron at all here is the biggest grief notes, man?
Because it's pretty coin flip. Nidalee can probably outspite me. And we're hella squishy.
Yeah.
Renekton's top lane.
So Nidalee, overall. So one of the first things is this wave needs to be in their base before we even try it, because right here it's not enough. The second thing is Nidalee's Q does a significant amount of damage, and it will outsmite you if she does it properly. Plus, both smites are at 900 now because everybody just loves that change. So the smites are going to be too close. So now in these seasons you can't really flip Barons, because even if you're massively ahead in levels, it's just way too risky.
I forgot, dude. It's crazy. It changed this game so much. Gosh. I just remember when, and it feels like so long ago that Smite was like
they
on
used to
levels.
get it
That's
based on
crazy.
levels. It was so much better. Like
Yeah. Damn.
it's like, okay, let's just make it a lot more flippy. That makes a ton of sense.
Mm.
So yeah, this was Camille's second Q. So we just wanted to back away at that point. Just play safe.
That I kill her fast enough. I'd flash too. Yeah. Trash.
I mean, it's whatever. Like, but again, this is why we need Zerilda's, because obviously she's gone Sundra with like a ton of armor, so we can't really do too much until we've got that item. So this is where we want. So this was good, right? So I think this was at the point where we said go and farm their camps, because again, look, you got a blue buff for free. Which now it's going to be a lot harder for it to do anything. I mean, I would have just taken that red personally, like, because you need Zerilda's.
Yeah.
Now this is another point where you have to use pings, right? Like you have to start using pings, because right here, what you should have been doing is on this camp, as soon as you see this Renekton and TF walking like that, you need to be opening your shop and pinging that you need Last Whisper, right? And then you can ping them to back away and ping Last Whisper, and you can pray that they listen to you and they stop taking your camps. But because of this ends up with you wasting so much idle time, because as you can see here, TF takes your walls and Renekton takes your Gromp.
Yeah.
Which is very annoying. As a jungler, it annoys me very much. But see how much we have to wait for that? It's just not worth it.
Sure.
So here we get the Ezreal, which is good. And then we get out, which is fine. Again, this game becomes a little hard. So, we don't technically do no damage to it, but we don't do damage if we miss everything. So, like right here, like we miss our W. And I think your Q2 missed there. Actually, no, I think it did hit maybe. So... Again, we're just looking to clear everything away. So here, this was kind of a little bit of a mistake though, because like what items do we technically need here, right? Like what else do we need in this situation?
Items?
Yeah. What do we need to be relevant at this point?
Not GA. I don't know. Or Shirley. We have Shirley's. No. I'm not sure.
I mean, the reason you can't really think of one is because technically we don't need anything specifically right now.
Yeah.
Like, we just need to spend the gold that we have and then get to the objective. We've got adequate vision, so our vision around this objective is really good, but we're in topside. So this is, big int, because, like, this dragon is spawning and we're nowhere near. So we really don't have much of an opportunity to do much. So here, again, we should have just looked to reset. Again, we would have... miss this blue buff, but
Yeah,
it's
from too
whatever.
much.
Like,
Yeah.
reset, get a Dirk, and then just run straight to the dragon. And we could have potentially maybe fought, because, you know, Renekton's dead, but Renekton's not really too big of an issue. And now by the time we're actually getting there, they're already on it, right? They've managed to
Yep.
walk in, clear all our vision away, and actually start the dragon. All because we went for a blue buff.
Yep.
Which we would have got that mana back when we based anyway, so.
Well, I think I got all three. Or I got. Well, it doesn't matter. I still know if.
Yeah.
Did they get soul this game?
No. I don't think so.
Yeah. Should I queue in the background also?
What's
Is
that,
there-
sorry?
How much is left of this game? Oh, not that much. Alright, bet. I was gonna ask you if I
not
should
much.
queue.
We're almost done, to be fair.
Alright. Sounds good.
Okay, so. So, I mean, and then this is the point where, you know, we're just trying to do whatever we can, really.
Buy Jinx time.
Yeah.
That's literally
I mean, this was a really good fight, though. We actually played this really well. Obviously, you're an
Yep.
assassin. It's quite hard to end these games up, but you just rely on them messing up. Like here, popping this crown was a good idea because, you know, Ezreal loses a lot of damage as soon as the crown's dropped. I'm pretty sure it's 40 AP. So as soon as the crown is
Wait.
dropped, he loses a lot.
He loses damage when the crown is down.
Yes. Let me just double check because it's a new item.
I thought it just gave defensive. I didn't know it gave
Mm,
defensive stats
no.
when it was up.
I'm so used to typing Crown of the Broken Queen that I forgot its name
Oh,
for a
yeah.
second there. So yeah, so 40 AP at level 18.
Oh damn. That's
So
why it's a good item on him.
yeah. So while he has it up, it's between 10 at level 1 to 40 AP at level 18. And
Yeah.
he keeps that for 3 seconds after it's deactivated as well. So
Right.
if you can pop it at the start of a fight, it is 40 seconds until it comes back up. So he loses a massive amount and then you just win. So yeah, so again, like the main things that we have to focus on is the being more aggressive inside the jungle. Like that's going to be the biggest one because right now we're getting ahead, we're getting to our power spikes and then we're doing absolutely nothing with it, and then that's making us fall behind. Your early pathing is very, very important. Again, we're not going to be pathing towards lanes that have 0 CC because as Kayn, you need CC. You have more than enough damage in order to kill somebody 100-0 on Kayn. It'll be a little slow, but it doesn't matter. Early game, you still can. So you're just looking for lanes that have CC that can set you up. Get 1 or 2 kills, and then you start looking for your form, right? Because you can get to, like, I mean, roughly, you want to get to roughly 40%. Now, sometimes if you get to, like, 48%, it'll still give you majority kind of red. It could just be a bit weird like that. But overall, you want to be making sure that you get kills on people early to get those kind of early stacks, and then after that, then you just focus on which form you want. Obviously, remember as well, if you do get the wrong form, you can still go say you get red form, you can go and start attacking range champions, and that'll actually reduce the time needed for your blue form if you've got that timer on it. So that's obviously something to remember too. So early game pathing, super important. Making sure you're being aggressive when you get leads, also very important. And then just things like your FKs. Again, it seems like it doesn't really matter, but it will matter massively. And then things like your camera control as well, making sure that you're always looking where the action is and where you want to be is really, really important.
Alright.
So I'll end the VOD there.